there, fellow gamers. My name is Ashes, and I welcome you all to the channel. Today we are playing GTA 5 Online, and this is another reading ASMR. So, in this video we're going to be continuing with our reading of Far Cry Absolution. We're going to be taking a ride to the casino again, but this time we're going to travel in our company SUV from the agency. Now I've called for the SUV, but he's parked round the corner here. I don't know why they couldn't come into the car park where I was. I was just at these I forgot the name of the building where we're just coming out from, but I had a few days stay there, had some time to relax, play some tennis, have a swim. It's very nice. But we're heading back now to our usual business, but we're gonna finish off the trip with a visit to the casino. So as we're walking to the SUV, I'm just going to find where we're up to with the book, so take the front cover off. Okay, so where we left off last time, Will and Lonnie were having a bit of a scrap, quite a serious fight. They had a disagreement on how they wanted to capture Mary May, and Lonnie wanted to kill her, and Will wanted to just capture her, take her back. So they had a disagreement and they had a fight. So we're going to be continuing from there now, so let's begin the read. Will saw him falling. It seemed like a minute before Lonnie hit, but it must have been merely a second or two. The body landed in the loose rock and talus 100 feet below, then bounced awkwardly as it somersaulted and careened. Legs and arms stretched outward down the slope, sliding to a stop amid the large boulders toward the bottom of the cliff debris. Will stood there staring down. One of Lonnie's arms lay behind him in strange backwards rapture, while his face looked upward and his head appeared like it had been popped and then stretched away from off his body. The skin of the neck, the only thing to keep it now attached. Will bent and lay against the edge of the ridge. He reached a hand for the rifle and came up holding it by the stock. Quickly he worked the bolts and checked the rifle over, moving it to one side, then the other in a quick sturdy of wood and metal. It seemed okay, but there was a crack in the lens when he raised his eye to it and looked again down into the empty meadow he had seen Mary May passing across only minutes before. Okay, so we're now moving on to the next paragraph, the next part of Mary May's story, so let's continue. As her lungs beat, pulling at the air like the air itself was not enough, and the capillaries in her heart burst like distant stars. Far away, but looming ever closer, she ran. Flat out, full speed ahead. No looking back, no pause, no fucking way she was letting anyone catch her. In the checkered light of shadow and sun that came streaming down through the pines, the world bounced across her vision with the frenetic pull of some devil's hacksaw, raking away at the earth from down below. It was only the sheer terror and realization that each footfall and beat of her soul could be heard against rock and pine needle that caused her to pull up short. She veered to her right and stood stock still, with her back to the thin trunk of a tall pine, trying as best she could to catch her breath. She was immediately aware of how alone she was, how very lost she was from any comfort or salvation. Out there in the wilder, wider brightness of her field from which she ran, she could see no one, and she had heard nothing since the bullet flew past her and struck the ground no more than 10 feet off. She needed to get away, and she needed to get away now. She looked around at the half-lit forest. She knew now why so many of the original pioneers were lost in places like this. The lodgepole pines everywhere she looked, straight as arrows, thick as telephone poles, each the same, like the makings of some carnival funhouse there was no escaping from. Okay folks, so now the story is taking us back to Will and Lonnie, so let's see what happens. Will came down off the ridge, half sliding and half walking through loose gravel that lined the bottom of the cliff. When he came to Lonnie, the man's eyes were still and open, and a savage gash could be seen across the side of his face that ran all the way along one cheek and up across the skin just above his ear. His neck was clearly broken, and the skin had bruised, and even as Will took hold of an arm, meaning to turn him over, Will could feel the lifelessness of his body and the looseness of the muscle. Will rolled and pushed Lonnie over. He was lighter than Will, but he was no by means easy to move. And as Will pushed, he could smell already the turning of the body and the release of all its liquids. He pushed Lonnie all the way over, and now he could get his hands on Lonnie's back. Undoing the drawstring at the top, he began to pull item after item from the backpack and lay them out. Much of it Will had seen already when they'd made up their camp the night before. But when he came to the wolf collar with the transmitter, he was not at all surprised. He pulled it up and stood looking at it. He turned it over in his hand. It weighed little more than a few pounds, and he could see where there was a little switch that could be turned on and then turned off. For 10 seconds he stood there looking at it. Then he slid the collar back inside the bag with all the rest of Lonnie's things and pulled the man over and let him rest. Up above, Will could see the place he once stood, and he looked now into the field another 100 or so feet down the slope. He set off in the direction he had seen Mary May heading, knowing that Eden's Gate was not far off. When he had made it all the way across the field, he could see figures moving on the ridge. He watched them where they formed just at the lip of the cliff. Will moved under the trees now, not wanting to be seen. Once he was in the shade, he raised the scope and put his eye on them, watching as they looked down on the place Will knew Lonnie to be. Will watched them long enough to see them break apart from their small group and move out along the ridge in single file. He watched them come to the place that Will himself had found to thread his way down from atop the cliff. And then Will watched them move across the loose rock and tell us just as he had done. John walked out front, leading with the antenna, no doubt moving toward the transponder and the wolf collar within Lonnie's bag. Okay folks, so we're going to end the reading here, but before we end the video, I've got a little announcement for you. I'm thinking of reading another book. Alongside this book, we're not cancelling this one. But I want your opinion on this because the setting is going to be different. I'm not going to be recording gameplay to put with the video like you're watching now. For this other book, I'm going to be sat in my car on my dinner break at work, and I'm going to be sort of filming myself, not the face, but sort of filming my book, and you're going to be seeing that. Now it's going to be a bit different because I'm not going to have a mic. Again, you're not going to be watching gameplay of something, but we're going to be outside in a car. You may hear birds in the trees. It might be nice. I just want your opinion on what you think about this. Should I do it? Should I not? Please do let me know. I appreciate your thoughts on this. The book's going to be sci-fi, whether it'll be Star Wars or something else, I'm not sure, but anyway, let me know. Let's see what we get on the casino wheel here. Okay, 40 grand, that's okay. Oh, we've glitched out the session. Oh well, never mind. Yeah, that's alright, 40 grand. Again, please do let me know what you think about me reading another book in my car on my break at work. I'd love to see what you think. But anyway, we're going to end this video here, so I hope you all enjoyed. Until next time, take it easy, and I will see you all in the next one.